Hello and welcome to another one of my videos, and in this video I'm going to go over swapping out my receiver and battery box out of the Hyper 7 and replacing it with the new TQ2 Hyper 7 battery box. I have actually been doing quite a few modifications to this car as of late, and to be honest I was going to video them, but I got a bit too excited to set it all up and I just went ahead and put them all on. But I'll do a separate video after I've put this in to explain everything I've done to it. But I thought in this one I'll just show you how you can basically, if you've got a old TQ Hyper 7, how you can basically liven it up a bit. And I think this is quite neat because compared to the old one, which is held in by 4 screws as in the lid is, and the battery's on the outside, this is a fully contained unit which inside contains a glow plug. You don't get one of these free, by the way. It's just I store it in there because I would forget where I've put it otherwise, and I actually had forgotten to put it in there, so see, it works. Anyway, I'll stick that over there. So with the whole revamp I'm doing to my Hyper 7, I thought I'll install one of these, one for ease and two because it looks good instead of this manky old grey one. So I'm hoping, people have said these are just a direct swap, so we will put that to the test and see if this actually does just swap out directly. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just disconnect all the radio equipment out of the box, and I'm going to try and lift it all off in one go. When I find the right screwdriver bit. There we go. No, that will be a bit too big, that will do. So, like I say, with this radio box, there's 4 screws holding it in, and if you wanted to change out, it's a right faff. And it's the same with the battery box. You have to undo screws to get it out. And because they're just plastic the self-tappers into plastic, over time they'll wear, the threads will go, and if they get that worn, they're just gonna, the top's gonna come off your car. So I thought I might as well do an upgrade, since the battery box itself from the TQ was only £5, so you can't really go wrong there, can you? So after I've got this off, one of the downsides, well, it's not a downside really, but one of the things you'll have to do is you'll have to get rid of your lay down air filter. Now, to be honest, not many people use them that attach to the box. They'll go for one of these standalone ones, which basically is held off the carburetor instead of being supported by the box. So anyway, I'm going to use those screws later because my box didn't come with any self-tapping screws to actually secure it in, so I'll be using the same screws for that. So if I just slip the top of this box off here, oopsie daisy, and disconnect me little transmitters and stuff. 1, 2, 3. Another thing which I've got a sneaky suspicion, I haven't tried it yet, but I think if you've got an old style 27 megahertz or 40 megahertz system, this won't fit in because the box for this seems very small for a transmitter. This one I'm hoping will fit in. Now it should, because the actual system that the TQ2 uses is a 4.2 gigahertz one, so should work. So now I've got that off, it should just be a matter of undoing 2 screws at the top here when I get the right Allen key, which I don't seem to have. So okay, I've found the right Allen key. A lot of these small ones I've got quite a few. They've rounded off just because they're not very good Allen keys. And RC Nitro cars are renowned for using very small Allen keys, which basically just, the Allen keys either bald themselves or the actual screws lose their hex head shape within them, so they're a right pain to get out. I've already had to drill a few off the bottom of this just because they had no hex head left in the actual screw. So well, this should be also the same Allen key I used to disconnect all the bottom ones. So we shall soon see once I get this last one out. So that's it disconnected from the servo tray. So if I tilt it up and show you the underside, its bottom, we shall undo these ones here, which aren't... But like I say, the TQ2 is basically exactly the same as the TQ1, other than it's got a few little modifications to it. All the parts are, as I believe, you can basically swap them out. So if you've got an old TQ1, you can make it look a lot newer by putting TQ2 parts on. And like I say, this radio box only cost me a £5. So that's out. I know it doesn't come with any of the screws or stuff, but you've already got them on your car anyway, and that's what you're swapping out, so no big dealie there. So, now we've got that in, we should be able to just slip that out of there, and there we go. There's one very skanky looking radio tray. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this battery out, so I'm going to have to find a pair of scissors, which there should be some in this drawer back here. Which there isn't. I'll be back in 2 seconds after I've found some pairs of scissors. I should have really been more prepared for this video, but yeah, I do things on a whim. So, okay, so I'm back again. I have just took the battery out of the old battery holder. So now the first thing I'm going to do is to see if this fits in here. If it doesn't, which it's not going to, that's alright, pain. I've got a dead feeling I'm going to have to invest in a hump pack for this, because I know they fit in there. They're going like that, and they're 2 on top of the other, so that's a right pain, because you can't just, if you've got one of these, you can't just swap. But no worries, because I've still got the 4A4 battery holder off this car from years back, so that should fit in here. And I'll actually just quickly run and get that, because I know where it is. So let's check if this one will fit in here. Yep, it fits in there nicely, so for the time being I'm going to have rechargeable AA's, but that's no skin off my nose, I can cope with that. And another thing I'm going to have to test is if this fits into here, which, oh, it does, it actually fits in there quite nicely, so that'll do me. We also have to take into account that we've got the switch gear on here, so I'm going to have to remove the old switch from the lid here. Now we should have a very small, very small Phillips head screwdriver here. Yep, we do. And we'll just do these over here. The other thing that I like about this battery box, because it's so encased, it's basically splash proof. I'm not going to say waterproof because it's not, but you could actually fairly easily make it waterproof if you had some rubber gaskets or even some waterproof sealant. And you've got a little grommet on there where all the cables come out of, so that's also protected from water ingress, which is always a good thing, because no matter what you do, they always say don't run them in wet conditions and stuff, but we are all big kids, we like to run it whenever we want. It's just the way this hobby goes. So now I've got that off, we can find where I've put the lid. And that'll be this part done and twisted. So just release it here, take 2 seconds. We've also got this little rubber protection over the top of the switch, which comes standard with all these hyper buggies. The switch itself is just a general RC on-off switch. It's basically common, every RC car uses this type of switch, so any switch would do to go in there. So that's nicely tight in, works. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to test fit this in here and see if it's going to interfere with the receiver, which it is. So next step, I think I'm going to move the receiver over here like that, and we'll put it on its side and see if that fits in. So that's not going to fit in, so what I'll have to do is, I've got a sneaky suspicion the hump packs should fit with the receiver. Now, the receiver in the Hyper 7s are now going here, so I don't have a clue how they actually fit in, but we shall see. So we have all this cable and should go inside, so we'll just stick all that into here, like so. And we should have some spare screws off the top. Yes, we do. So we'll use these to screw that down when we're ready, but we're not yet. So we'll take all this off and we'll now mount it to the car, which should be a direct fit. So if we move, oh, where's these going? So these don't actually have to go up there no more, because the actual position's in the side there for these to go in. So we'll stick that up here. Oh, get in. Oh, we're just nearly there. There we go. And if I do say so myself, that looks like a direct fit. So what I'll do is I'll mount them on the top loosely first. So I'll just grab 2 of these in an Allen key. mounted loosely on the top. Oops, I got through. One of these in the video. This plastic one happening yet, because these are creating further so let's just have this over there. And already, my car's a lot nicer. That's a hell of an improvement for the side of the system itself. A hell of an improvement. So now we've got we shall stick the council screws in on, like so. So we should have to hold line up already, so just set these, try and hold them. That's a bit of But I'll tell you how to do that, because even on big vehicles, I'll go because I feel stuff, you can't feel it. It's like I've got exhaust from my over again, I guarantee it's stuff. But it's actually on the screen outside. But I won't really touch the walls, because I just feel natural to fix the engine. When you call the car, I don't have any feel, it just feels wrong. So anyway, you just stick one of these back in. So that's it, one of the these video boxes will go straight in. Got the actual Allen key, and we'll stick it down. So along with all my other mods, that looks pretty darn good. So I'll just take this grommet out here, because this should just slip out. Oh wait there. Ah, there's a hole in the top, so I can just slip them down in here. There we go, and fit that back over there. Aha! So there's all my servos in. So basically all I have to do now, and bam, we are done. Now I had a nifty idea of how to hold this down, which involved one of these. If I can find where I've put it, there it is. So instead of actually using I'll just move it in and zoom in to where I am talking about and go down. So if we can see here, it might be a bit dark, but there's actually a screw hole to actually hold this down. Now, one, if we've got batteries and want to recharge these, like I said before, you're using self-tappers. Problem with self-tappers is, after a while, after you've used them, it basically draws the thread out the hole and you haven't got any thread, and the screw's just basically doing nothing. So I thought, in a moment of wisdom, use a body clip. So basically all I'm going to do is put that into there, put that there, lay that down there. That's not going anywhere. And if you want to actually remove the batteries or anything, you just give it a pull, like so. The clip comes out with that, and then reinstall it, put the clip back down the hole, slip it over, clip it in place, and then bend my little clip holder down there. But if I do say so myself, that is a vast improvement to the old system. And like I say, this car is such a good buggy. It's just, I've had it since 2006 now, and it's now, well, 7 years, basically. And it hasn't faltered us. I've had one crash and it basically just bent a blooming wishbone. That's all it did. So, you know, it's a good idea for Offner to actually produce a Rev Up, which is basically exactly the same buggy with just a few parts. And these parts you can actually fit onto any TQ car you like. So, a nice little modern touch there. And because I've got a 2.4 GHz system on, it's making it lighter. And because we actually if any is a race and all that, we'll know centre of gravity is a big thing. You know, most people won't notice it, but some people might. But when you've got a big heavy battery pack in there, which weighs a car this size considerable, that actually brought into the centre towards the engine will improve the centre of gravity. So if you're jumping and so on and so forth, it might actually help the car be more stable when you're actually taking off jumps. So yeah, another little design feature there. So I'll get on and wire this in. I'm now going to need to figure out what batteries I'm going to use. I should have some rechargeable AAs somewhere. I hardly ever use rechargeable AAs now, but I should have a man drawer full of them. So I'll get that all sorted, and I will do another video going over all the rest of the modifications I've done. So as always, keep safe, and I shall see you soon.